Hi and welcome to Hi-Hu, and in this video we'll be unwinding and taking things a little bit more casual. Sometimes you just might not be in the mood to devour an intense 12+ hour long game. You might just want to sit back and do something a little bit more chill to take your mind off things. So in this video we'll be taking a look at one of those games. The game I want to talk to you about is The Beginner's Guide, a walking simulator made by Davey Wreden, also known as that dude that made the Stanley Parable. A game that is well known for its quirky narration and its interesting way to tell many stories. The Beginner's Guide kind of takes a different, more personal route though. The game is voiced and narrated by Davey himself, however the overall tonality of the game is very different in contrast. The premise of the game is pretty simple, as well as its overall gameplay. The game is about the relationship between two people, Davey and a friend of his named Coda. Coda is also a game developer. And in The Beginner's Guide, Davey quite literally is taking you on a tour through every single game Coda has ever made, from start to finish, kind of dissecting each of them. Coda's games aren't like your normal conventional games either. They are more like mini works of art or tiny little experiments solely made for himself or Davey to experience. And that's where the narration really takes over. Davey is quite literally dissecting each game and trying to understand what Coda was either trying to say to himself or the world around him. Pretty much Davey's interpretation of Coda in each game. And that's a pretty unique concept if you think about it. Rarely do I ever take the game developer into account when I am in the middle of playing a game. I take them literally for face value of, I am Commander Shepard and I am going to save the galaxy. Usually Easter eggs are the only time that I'll think, hey, that's really neat that the developer has acknowledged the fans or acknowledged something that they love and kind of snuck it into the game themselves. However, primarily in the indie scene, where games are a lot more personal and handmade by the developer or a small group of staff, there is more of a chance for you to question these types of things. A lot of the time, the interpretation that Davey has is a mixture of both game design and the personal meaning behind the choices when Coda was designing those games.
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
I'm deliberately staying away from the majority of what Davey talks about in terms of his interpretations and the route that the game goes down. But this game is very interesting and captivating from the get-go. The overall game goes through around 90 minutes or so. The pacing of the narration and the length of each game really tells the story very quickly, and time kind of flies by. But I just want to clarify something about this game. Whilst personally I consider walking simulators to be games, The Beginner's Guide is on the far outskirts of what is actually a game. Just as you might go, why is a white canvas considered art? You might also go, why would walking around a room with some dude talk to you be considered a game when you can't even die, shoot, win or lose? But that's why walking simulators really exist. They are games, but they are on the lighter side of them. They exist to be an experience. They still hold the conventions of a game, they just don't have the laws of winning or losing, and generally the massive amounts of micromanagement that games can burden the player. And the point of this particular review is to say if you've had a long day and you just want to chill out, then this is a game to consider. Or if this game has caught your interest by any chance, hopefully I've convinced you more. This is a really good way to sit back and not worry about your health or not worry about weapon durability. It just tells a really interesting personal story and then it finishes leaving whatever it might leave on you. The game sells for around $10, and it's a fair price for something that you can tell that Davey has put a lot of time and effort into making. The guide he has made is a fantastic journey through the dissection of his friend and the things that he might have been trying to say when making each game. The game starts off pretty light and ends with you kind of being speechless, or at least it did for me, and it's not going to be like that for everyone, and that's fine. It's all interpretation and it's subjective, but this game is a very unique experience and I cannot recommend it enough. If you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, hit the like and sub button. This is Shawnee Maurice from Hi-Hu. Thanks for watching.